Hi folks, Mr. Long here with a screencast about how to graph and determine equations of lines. So if we had the equation of the line, y equals, say, 3 bracket x plus 4, how would I graph that? Well, remember that the equation of the y-axis is x equals 0, and the equation of the x-axis rather is y equals 0. So if I look at this, this particular question, and I look, there's something I can see right away that's really easy to make 0, and that's x plus 4. So if x plus 4 is 0, I know x is negative 4. And if that's if this is if x is negative 4, I end up with 3 times 0. And so in that case, y would be 0. So if x is negative 4, y would be 0. What's the slope of that line? 3. So it's sloping up. Like so. Now, by the way, could we figure out the y-intercept in this case? Yeah, we probably could, because the slope is 3 over 1. So if I go over by 4, I have to go up by 4 times 3, or 12. Okay, 4 times 3. So it goes over 4 and then up at a slope of 3. So it's 12. So the y-intercept would be 12. So the equation for the slope y-intercept form would then be 3x plus 12. Now, how else could have I got that? Expand through the brackets. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, folks, so that's how you sketch slope x-intercept form. Slope y-intercept form, of course, is a little bit easier. But let's look now at an example here. So let's graph this right here. So question A says a line has a y-intercept of negative 6 and a slope of 5. So what will that look like? Okay, what will that look like? Well, let's see. The y-intercept is negative 6 and the slope is 5. So it's going to look something like that right there, right? With a slope of 5 over 1. So in terms of equations, I can do something quite easy here. So I'm going to use y equals mx plus b, because this right here is b. So my equation is going to be y equals 5x minus 6. Now, what's interesting here is if I'm going to put it into slope x-intercept form, which is this, y equals m bracket x minus z, where z is the x-intercept. Okay, and that's right here, the x-intercept. So how would I do that? Well, what I do is I have to put it into that form, which means I'm factoring. I'm introducing a set of brackets. And, well, what would I be factoring out? I've got 5x minus 6. So if I need to make this number 1 here, then what I need to do is divide through by 5. And I'm not sure, in terms of understanding common factoring, what you do with common factoring is you divide by a number and multiply by that same number. For example, if you started with, say, 3, and then you multiplied by 6, then you divided by 6, you end up with 3, right? You don't change the quantity. Well, it's the same thing with common factoring. So let's common factor out 5. So what it really means, I'm going to divide by 5, I'm going to divide by 5, but I'm also going to multiply by 5 to keep the quantity the same, right? Because I can't change the quantity. I still have to have 5x minus 6. So how do we do it? I just introduce that 5. This 5 goes into this 5 once, so I've got x minus 6/5. Now I look at that, and that's my form, y equals 5 bracket x minus 6 over 5. And what is that going to be? Like, what makes that bracket 0? Well, and I call that z the 0, right? That's z the 0 equals 6 over 5. Okay, so the x-intercept here is 6 over 5. All right, folks. So that's how you do A. I'm going to do B with you as well. I know this is a bit of a longer video, and I apologize. So B is, the x-intercept is 1, and I call that Z. And the slope for B is 4. Well, what does this look like? Well, I've got an x-intercept of 1, and I've got a and I've got a slope of 4. Okay, a slope of 4. So it's like so. The slope is 4. And so what is the equation for this? Well, this is y equals 0. So what x value causes the y value to be 0? So remember that we have y equals m bracket x minus z. This is the x-intercept form of the line, right? Well, the slope is 4. That's m. And then I have x minus the x-intercept. Well, what's the x-intercept? 1. X minus 1. Okay, so y equals 4 bracket x minus 1. Let's see if that works. So now if I take this right here and I substitute in 1 for that, I'm going to get 1 minus 1. Well, that is going to give me 0. Okay, so that does work. Now, what would the slope y-intercept form be for that? The slope y-intercept form, I would just go multiply through the brackets. Y will equal 4x minus 4. Okay, so that makes this minus 4. So what you're doing today, what you're going to do tonight with your homework is you're going to determine the equation of the line in the x-intercept form, which is m bracket x minus z, and in the y-intercept form, which is mx plus b. Okay, folks, and that's what you're going to do. And the set of questions that you're going to work through are these ones here, okay? And good luck. You're good to go.